can also put in recording.
Yes.
I'll also restart my recording.
I'll quickly go through the process of the session, how we are going to do it. Okay. We are going to quickly set the agenda, the reason for doing it, the reason for conducting, IP talks, and what we are planning to do through IP talks quickly. And then Niraji will definitely introduce to our eminent speaker today, Mr. Ravi Shankar ji, जिनको सुनने के लिए हम बहुत ही बेताब हैं. और in fact, I'm more.
Vasudha's face is not visible here.
Vasudha ji, आप थोड़ा पीछे कर लीजिए, ठीक है. And at the end, we are going to open the session for. Okay, then I will definitely have few questions for him. I'm very excited to ask few questions. Once Mr. Ravi Shankar speaks and let us know about the significance of the inscriptions about Indraprasth or Indraprasth, after that, I'll definitely love to ask some questions and open the questions, question answer session for rest of the people, so that we can get more and more information with His Eminence presence, right? So, Niraji.
And he will be needing the screen after he's talked. He'll be showing some images.
Okay, fabulous.
Okay, that you can work out when he requests you.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So now this is formally we are beginning, because we have to do the recording and put it up. Namaskar, everybody. Very, very warm, hearty welcome to our speaker of the day, Dr. T.S. Ravi Shankar ji. And we are delighted to have with us Padma Shri Shri K.K. Mohammed ji, who's been our associate for so many years now. And I'm so happy that Grover ji from the representing the Indian History Research Bharat has joined us, and my dear friend and member of our trust from the inception, Vasudha, and of course Aryan. So a hearty welcome to everybody this evening. We are today's the speaker for I think everybody knows about Draupadi Trust, so I'm not going to take time on that. The objective, of course, is to highlight the ancient civilization and culture and give it the base of research and documentation that exists with us, so that people actually can connect with the history in real terms. So with that objective, we have been doing a lot of programs, and this is our 11th program on Indraprasth Talks. So the speaker for today is Dr. T.S. Ravi Shankar, who has been the director of epigraphy in Indian Archaeological Survey of India, Government of India, retired now, but very prominent positions. I think Vasudha, you may kindly do us the honor of sharing his achievements with us, please. Vasudha, your face is not visible.
I have to come a bit close to the screen, otherwise I can't read. So excuse me for that, just for the time that I'm reading.
Okay, no problem, Chelu.
Yeah, so thank you, Neera. A small introduction of Dr. T.S. Ravi Shankar. So Dr. Ravi Shankar is the chairman of Epigraphical Society of India, executive member of Place Names Society of India, and vice president of South Indian Numismatic Society. He has established his expertise in deciphering Sanskrit inscriptions and also early coins. Presently, apart from editing of annual reports on the Indian epigraphy, the departmental publications, he has worked as an expert numismatist from ASI at Delhi Customs Office to examine the coins. From the last more than 25 years, he has been teaching the students of postgraduate diploma in archaeology at the Institute of Archaeology, ASI, New Delhi. He has coordinated and conducted many workshops on paleography, epigraphy, and numismatics at Delhi and Mysore. He has also participated in many important archaeological excavations at different places, an important one being that at Ayodhya, and also participated in many seminars, conferences of national and international levels, and has contributed number of scholarly articles in English and Kannada languages to many reputed journals. Recently, he visited Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, for study of Nagari inscriptions. available in that country under the Cultural Exchange Program of Government of India. And recently, he also delivered lecture at Indira Gandhi National Open University and at IIT Kharagpur on epigraphy. And with this, I welcome Dr. Ravi Shankar for today's program.
Yeah, hi. Not possible. I'm good. How are you? Not possible. Not possible. No problem. No problem. No problem. No problem. Enjoy yourself. We'll catch up. Not. Don't say that. Don't say that. See you. See you. Bye. Sorry. I'm so sorry, huh? So that was RC. He cannot join. So now I think we leave the floor open to our honorable speaker of the day, Dr. Ravi Shankar ji. The topic of today is Indraprasth through epigraphy. What the inscriptions tell us about Indraprasth Astitva, the identity of Indraprasth as the capital of our nation and the capital established by the Pandavas in this place in the Dwapar Yug. Over to you, Dr. T.S. Shankar, Ravi Shankar ji.
Thank you. Good evening to all. At the prima facie, I should thank Madam Neera Mishra ji for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts, and that too, different subjects have been chosen for the talk, and I'm very happy the choice has fallen on epigraphs. And today's talk is Indraprastha, an epigraphical perspective. So, as one of the series of the talk in this Indraprastha talk series, I also thank other office bearers of Atmanirbhar Bharat, Crisoles Media, for giving me an opportunity to join with the eminent scholars, and Dr. K.K. Mohammed sir, who is also present today. It's my great honor to have him here on this platform. I need not reiterate here that our country is extremely rich in epigraphical wealth. Intensive and extensive epigraphical survey conducted throughout the length and breadth of the country has yielded hundreds and thousands of inscriptions written in various scripts, in various languages, far-flung in time and space, beginning from 3rd century BC to late medieval period. In fact, the area which is chosen today, Indraprasth, in its surroundings, I am not confining only to Indraprasth as a kila and as a territorial division. I think it has got a wider range of territory. So thus it includes all the Sanskrit inscriptions, most of the Sanskrit inscriptions, and also inscriptions written in local dialect that are found in Delhi, not from other places, those found in Delhi and preserved in some of them in the offices, most of them in the museums. So that is the subject I would like to cover today, all the Sanskrit inscriptions and the inscriptions that are written in local dialect found in one of the major landmarks of Delhi. Of course, excluding the major or the inscriptions which are of great significance, like Ashokan rock edict and pillar inscriptions, and the Mehroli, which is already known, has got sufficient attention. I'm not going to deliberate or discuss again and again about the importance of such very major inscription. So that apart, I've chosen in my talk different inscriptions, of course, to start with those inscriptions from Indraprasth Purana Kila and many other significant landmark area in Delhi, in and around Delhi. And when we take this study, including the Ashokan rocketics and pillar, so Delhi is a place which represents every phase of the growth of the script and languages in every sense of the term. We have inscription. Suppose you take the rocketics and pillar edicts found though from different place set up in Delhi. From 3rd century BC, we have inscriptions. Of course, it's a beginning. Later, when we move on, we have the Mehroli pillar inscription in late Brahmi characters. And subsequently, there is some gap. We have a very major dynasty which ruled over, that is Gurjara Pratiharas, written in Nagari script. And slightly earlier to that, there are a couple of inscriptions written in Siddhamatrika script. And most of the languages are in Sanskrit and local dialect. And there are few inscriptions which are written in bilingual or biscriptal, that is very, very interesting. For example, keeping students in view, we have the tradition of biscriptal or bilingual is not something new to our country. We have large number of inscriptions. Of course, when you go to the that Mauryan phase, Ashoka got his inscriptions written in Aramaic, Greek, and such other language, even Kharoshti script and Prakrit language. So, though they are not, of course, they then, and we have a large number of coins where we have biscriptal and bilingual coins, and this is very great. You know, subsequently we have many such inscriptions, especially the period belonging to Delhi Sultanate. We have number of inscriptions found in most of the northern Indian states, which are in, to begin with, of course, either the Sanskrit portion will come in the beginning, written in Nagari, followed by Nask and Nastali and Arabic and Persian inscription. So the students have something, this is a new area where they can try to collect, make a connectivity study, because when we study this inscription, we find the Sanskritization, the use of Sanskrit words in Nagari or in local dialect. That's very, very interesting aspect that we are going to see when we read the text of the inscription, like Patasahi, many such Sanskritized terms of rulers we find. So before I come to the subject today, I need to reflect briefly about the waning interest in epigraphical studies. In fact, I did take this opportunity in every forum to say a few words, because there are many young scholars are there. There is a great need to revitalize, rekindle interest in epigraphical studies, at least among the student community. So compared to the magnitude of the country and the hundreds and thousands of inscriptions that are available, hardly there are very few scholars working and young scholars working, committed and dedicated scholars in this area. So there is a great need for us to kindle interest among the students, especially to take up epigraphical study in a larger measure. So that is normally I take this opportunity to pass on message, at least among younger scholars, to take up the study of epigraphical studies. In fact, epigraphy and archaeology and its allied subject, they go hand in hand. Each discipline supplement corroborate each other. And during my visit, especially in the south, when we go around the temple, any monument, especially I would like to take, for example, the temple of Tamil Nadu, for example, Tanjavur. There are inscriptions found throughout the wall, all around the wall, and one can see. And when it comes to the North Indian context, in a temple, it may be in some corner. So many of the visitors, students, they miss. They just go around without much of appreciation of the architectural beauty, iconography. So many are like just they go around, let alone the epigraph, it will be in one corner. So I would like to draw the attention of the visitors who are really interested. Take a look at the inscription, what it has to say about the monument, what it has, when it was constructed, who are responsible. All these are recorded. This is very, very important, which we are ignoring. We are, even when I visited a place like Hathigumfa, there are just going around without looking at the such a huge, magnificent inscription of Kharavela. And when you see this is happening, so I would like to specially invite the attention of the student community. Try to learn and identify to which period the inscription belongs. A knowledge of the script is absolutely essential, and the language, at least to identify to which period the inscription belongs. So you can corroborate the iconography, so many aspects. So I have a message for the young students who are studying epigraphy to take it more and more interest to further. Not only that, you will be able to conserve and preserve our rich legacy to the posterity. In this talk, I'm going to take most of the inscriptions that are found in and around Delhi. Mostly the source are from the annual report on Indian epigraphy, noticed in different years, and also some other publication. So this study try to kindle interest among the student to take a further interest in the study to understand epigraphical heritage of Delhi as a whole and its surrounding. The inscriptions found written in Sanskrit and local dialect, and they are, of course, I have told the Siddhamatrika and Nagari characters. And there are many. I'm not going to touch upon the Persian or Arabic portions of that. I'm focusing only the Sanskrit inscription. There are a couple of bilingual biscriptal inscription, which also I'm going to refer about this one. So before I make my narration of the inscription, one more area I would like to visit, which is not that popular or that is not that much. That is, I want to draw the attention of young scholars to make a foray into the study of onomastics. Onomastics, when I was going through some of the inscription, how Delhi got different names. For that matter, any other place for that matter, onomastic is a study of place names, personal names over the period. So there are different sources we have to mythology, tradition, folklore, of course, epigraphs form gives a perfect historical background. For example, Delhi had even Gwalior, earlier known as Gopagiri, even Jhansi. It's not very late. There is an inscription calling it Balawantnagar. So onomastics is a very, very important area. We have a dedicated society, Place Name Society of India, which has brought so many journals and very rich. Even I believe a study has been done regarding the place names of Delhi too, and its different. So it's very important how a place got different names. Suppose a king passes through that region, it is named after him, or when he makes some munificence, it gets changed. So onomastics is a very important study. It is done in a very sporadic manner here and there. So North Indian context, if you take each village, when inscription coming from different time lag, you can look for different names. So how it has gone. So this is one of the important study I would like to emphasize. The students should take up the study of onomastics, that is study of place name. So before I come to the subject of Indraprastha, as Ghosh has given a geographical account, physical account of it. So this is the old fort on the Yamuna in New Delhi, off Delhi Mathura Agra road, built by Humayun, and with standing monuments built by Sher Shah, situated on a mount on which stood the village Indraprastha. Till the beginning of this century, that is last century, not the identified with Indraprastha, the headquarters of the Pandavas of Mahabharata fame. It was explored by Cunningham and later on by others. It's important to note that an inscription of Bhoja of the Pratihara dynasty, whose reign period is 836 to 85 Common Era, was found. That is reported in the year 1913-14. Subsequently, a trial excavation was conducted by Bibilal in the year 1954, and many researches have been done. So this I have tried to give one thing in the trust as a small kila or a place, and there are a couple of inscriptions which mention it as a bigger territorial division adjacent to Haryana and all. So there are two contexts. One as a small fort or kila, and another is the Indraprastha as a territorial division where it occupies a larger swathe of land and territory. So there are at least 4 inscriptions or notice from Purana Kila. Of course, one deposited in the archaeological museum inscription. It is a very late record of Raja Sohanlal, dated in Samvat 1886, Maghashudi 13 Friday, written in Sanskrit and Nagari. Of course, it is a bilingual Persian and Nastali. So it records the grant of a feeding house, Satra, in the temple of Shiva by Sohanlal. So this is preserved. I have not, personally, I have not seen this. Couldn't access the stamp page or anything of this. So it is preserved in the archaeological museum. Inscription is dated in 1886 for making a Satra for the temple of Shiva. And another very interesting thing is, long back, when Professor M.C. Joshi was the superintending archaeologist of excavation branch 2, he had sent a ceiling for examination. And of course, it is also noted that was in the year 1972, a seal has kept from the Purana Kila, and it is in early Brahmi characters. They have assigned on paleographical grounds to 1st century BC. Inscription that ceiling has a swastika symbol and Kabataseya, maybe an individual, but the significance is such an early seal has come from this area itself is a great matter of great significance during the excavation in the year 1972. So this is a seal. And another 2 are very important one, which has got great significance. Unfortunately, there are good number of inscriptions some are very intact, some damaged, some worn out, but many of them are in fragmentary condition. It's a very unfortunate scenario that we notice in the northern India. Even when I conducted epigraphical explorations in many of the area, it's very, very rare to find a fully intact inscription in situ. Either such very good inscriptions are moved to some museum, they are protected, and some not seen. So most of them are in ruins, and the inscriptions that come are in fragmentary nature. And this is a very unfortunate scenario. When I visited in Rajasthan, Arthuna region, nearly for a stretch of 2 kilometers, you find ruins. And so along with the monuments which were raised, we have lost very, very valuable Sanskrit inscriptions too. Dr. Ramesh has observed, when we take the whole number of inscriptions found the pan-Indian context, he says all the vernaculars put together, the total number of Sanskrit inscriptions are much more higher than any of the language. Yes, it is true. Earlier, Prakrit was the pan-Indian language. Subsequently, right from earlier, of course, from the Gupta onwards, till the late medieval period, Sanskrit occupied a very, very predominant position as a pan-Indian language, as a royal language, even in the south, along with the regional languages. They patronized Sanskrit. So many hundreds and thousands of copper plates are in Sanskrit, stone inscriptions are in Sanskrit. You go to any part of the country. So it's a very unfortunate scenario when we see from North Indian context, many very, very historically significant inscriptions are of fragmentary nature, where you would have lost the date or sometimes the historical content also. And one such is ruin found in the, of course, preserved in the Fort Museum, a sandstone slab taken out from the 10th step of the semicircular flight of steps immediately inside the west of Talaki Gate of Purana Kila. This fragmentary stone inscription is assigned to Bhoja first, Gurjara Pratihara dynasty, 9th century. It is written in Nagari characters and Sanskrit language. So it records the construction, some construction, most probably that portion last may be temple, because subsequent portion of the text, when you look into it, it definitely says it must be a temple, because it records for gift, for offering lepana, deepa, gandha, pushpa. So these are all for the services of the god, for the anointment, the sandal, the flowers, the light, and everything. So it is given. So naturally, it must be a temple, and it's unfortunately it's of fragmentary nature. Of course, assigned to the Bhoja, Gurjara, Pratihara. So this, since this inscription has been recovered from the precincts of Purana Kila, it's a strong indication for the existence of a temple, probably belonging to the period of Gurjara, Pratihara period. It is noticed in the pre-collection, also noticed in the annual report of Rajputana Museum, Ajmer, the year 1923-24. Another fragmentary inscription, again from the same place, found built in the modern flight of steps, constructed inside the Talaki Gate, again of Indrapat Fort, that is Pandavanka Kila. It's again written in Nagari characters and Sanskrit language, belonging to the right of Bhoja of Gurjara. Pratihara dynasty seems to record the grant by purchasing of a house site for the maintenance of a temple. So these are of a different nature. So it records the grant by purchasing of a house site, and from that whatever the interest of recruit in that is utilized for the maintenance of the temple. So this inscription too support the existence of a temple, maybe the above mentioned temple, or maybe some other different temple in the same precinct. So these two inscriptions are very, very significant for us historically, as they belong to the Gurjara Pratyahara, and many earlier scholars also have referred to this. Then inscriptions preserved in the Delhi circle. This is again very important. Sabdarjung tomb, fragmentary inscription. Is a fragment of a slab kept in the office of the Delhi Circle ASI, written in Sanskrit language and Siddhamatrika characters. It refers to the installation of a deity, of course, deity in name last, by Maharajadiraja Shri Madhava. So I'm a bit confused to whom this Madhava can be identified with. So this record is of fragmentary nature because nothing more details are available, but it refers to the name of the king as Maharajadhiraja Shri Madhava. Because when I was going through some earlier records, there is again some scholar refers to as a descendant of Yudhishthira, Madhava. He also they say, but that is too far-fetched thing. This comes very much in the later part of the early period of 8th, 9th century. We have to think, we have to see who is this Madhava, because we have a Vishnu king Madhava Varman belong to Vishnu Kuntin dynasty. But here we have to see in the northern context whom we can identify this king Madhava. There is another fragmentary inscription preserved in the same place. It refers, it's very unique. Unfortunately, I couldn't access the original source or the stamp page or this. So it's very interesting. It refers to the pictures of king. That is what it is said. And the drawing pictures of Chitra Rachana, and mentions the names Bhatta Divakara and Kayastha Sajjana. So both these inscriptions are mentioned. They are preserved in the Delhi Circle ASI Sabdarjung tomb. Whenever again another occasion warrants, when I visit, I am very curious to see. If possible, I'll try to access the stamp page I am interested, or if I visit if it is preserved there itself, I would like to see this inscription. Very interesting, very interesting. Now I will move on to Mehroli. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Inscriptions have come, and in the year 1979-80, B44, they have noticed this inscription engraved on the pedestal of the image of Sankarshana. Please note, it is on the image of Sankarshana, has come to light from Mehroli, now preserved in the Delhi Museum. It's quite unique for the subject of talk today, because Sankarshana. It is written in Nagari characters and Sanskrit language, dated in Vikrama 1204. It's quite early. Maghashuddhi 7, Friday, equivalent 1114 Common Era, January 10. So records that the image of Sankarshana Murti caused to be installed by Titura Sehaka, the son of Sade and the grandson of Sadhu Govinda, belonging to Rohitanvaya. It's quite evident from this the popularity of Krishna cult in this adjacent, that is very, very important, very rare. So we have to see the image to appreciate it in all the content. In this context, I would like to draw the attention of two very important inscriptions belonging to early period. Though I'm trying to see the popularity of the Krishna cult and the very early phase, I'm taking to you different region. One is the Goshundi inscription of Sarvatata, the earliest Sanskrit inscription written in early Brahmi characters assigned to later half of the 1st century BC, records that this stone enclosure around the place of worship called Narayana Vataka is very important. Was constructed for the supreme unconquerable Lord Sankarshana. That's why I'm trying to relate it. It's very early, very early. And Vasudeva by the king Sarvatata, a Bhagavata Gajayana Parashara Putra, and a performer of horse sacrifice. So here we have the mention of both Sankarshana and Vasudeva, and perhaps that we find in this area where the Krishna cult is very famous. We can look for, in fact, more epigraphical surveys conducted. Maybe some early inscriptions may come. So the text of the inscription is very interesting. Karitoyam Rajna Bhagavatena Gajayanena Parashari Putrena Sarvatatena Ashwamedhayajina Bhagavadhyam Sankarshana Vasudevabhyam Anhitabhyam Sarveshabhyam Pujashila Prakaro Narayana Vatakaha. This is very interesting. It's interesting from every aspect, right from the worship. What was the enclosure? Probably we may see the genesis of the temple architecture. How it was there, we don't know, but Narayana Vataka, that is Shila. Again, there is another inscription, which is of course closer to our area, Mathura, that is Mora well inscription of Shodasha, written in early Brahmi character of 1st century Common Era and Sanskrit with Prakrit, epithets in Prakrit, records the installation of the images of the supreme 5 heroes belonging to Vrishni family in this stone temple. Here it is mentioned, stone temple, the illustrious matchless stone house built by Tosha, a reservoir with flow of water equaling the ocean. The 5 sparkling stone images of the heroes with great beauty. The 5 heroes are Sankarshana, Vasudeva, Krishna, Pradyumna, Samba, and Aniruddha. These are the 5 we have earliest reference in Vayu Purana about these 5 heroes. So this quite reflects the popularity of the cult of and the again we have a Sankarshana coming here. So this very, very important for us to understand the context of the Indraprastha. Now at Qutub Minar, it's a very, very important to see. We see the monuments. How many of us are drawn to the inscriptions were there? But we have many number of inscriptions engraved in local dialect and Nagari characters noticed in different parts. These inscriptions, some of course, one is 1256. It's engraved on the ground story of Qutub Minar, suggests its erection began in 1199. And now we have only date portion preserved. We don't have any other thing, but beautifully the date portion is there, 1256. And no earlier Arabic and Persian dated inscription found on the Qutub Minar. So in any case, it can be presumed from this record that the base structure of the Minar had been laid out as early as 1199. Again, another inscription mentions Minar as the pillar of fame, Malik Din, that is Qutubuddin Aibak, from an inscription of the reign of Alauddin Khalji. It is learned that some renovation work was carried out. The Minar also in the inscription has Vijaya Stamba, That's the inscription, Vijayastambha of Shri Sultan Alawadi. From an inscription dated again in 1382, it is learned that Minar was struck by lightning during the reign of Muhammad Sultan Tughlaq. Probably the work of renovating the Minar was completed again the year 1389. So we have got dates in sequence. Again, from an inscription of 13th-14th century, we learn that two masons, Sutradhara Lashman and Harimani Gaveri, son of Sahadhaira, were engaged in the repair work of the Minar. From another inscription, it is learned that Minar was again struck by lightning. So earlier it was struck, again it was struck in 1369. And during the reign of Firoz Shah, it was repaired by masons Nana, Salha, Lola, and Lashman. So we have again another record dated in 1369, records the details of the restoration work carried out during the reign of Firoz Shah Tughlaq with the names of workers associated with the repairs. Attention may be drawn to the fact that inscription refers to the Hindu architects who attribute the successful completion of the work by the grace of Sri Vishwakarma. This is important. All the masons whom we find, those short inscriptions, are very significant, and they say it is because of the grace of Vishwakarma that they could complete the structure, the professional deity of the architects. The name of the architect is mentioned as Chahada, son of Devapala, Nana, Salha, and one carpenter is also Dharma Namanan. That is there. The inscription also gives dimensions of the Minar. So like that, there are many inscriptions have come, which are of course in local dialect, some in Sanskrit, which are of great significance to understand the structure. And one more inscription, that Sanskrit inscription from Palam, that is airport, Palam, 12 miles southwest of Delhi, is found engraved in Nagari characters in a step well. See, here we have a number of inscriptions which mentions the causing of the step well. That is the most of the inscription. They begins with the salutations to Ganapati and Shiva. Then it enumerates the rulers of Haryana. This is a very early use of this name for this region. That's what I was mentioning earlier. The onomastics, the study of onomastic, when you take up, you can take up the state or some place name or some personal name, which are of great significance. So in this record, the Haryana is perhaps the earliest usage you find. So practically contemporary with the present inscription, beginning with the Tomas and the Chauhans. The names of sultans follow, such as Sahavadina. See, I already told, when you see the Sanskrit text, most of the names are in a way Sanskritized. Sahavadina, that is Sahabuddin, and Bhupala, Kutubuddin Aibak, Kuduvadina, Bhupala. See, we find the use of Kuduvadina Bhupala, who is Kutubuddin Aibak. Samsuddin Iltutmish, Firoz Shahi, Jalaluddin, many such names are recorded. Then the inscription makes very exact territorial claims for the empire of Ghiyasuddin Balban. Then the inscription eulogizes Delhi. This is also come, the occurrence of the Haryana and also Delhi, and gives the genealogy of Takkara Uddara. The object of the inscription is to record excavation of a stepped well to the east of Palamba. See, this is also very interesting. Palam, what now Palam we have, earlier known as Palamba. That is the early reference, perhaps maybe the earliest reference, the Palamba, and continued over the years, and now also we have the same name retained. and west of Kusumbhara Pura by Takura Udara, householder of Delhi, that is again mentioned, of which this inscription identifies Yogini Pura, the name usually found in the Jaina text. Then it refers to the construction of numerous dharmashalas. It's a quite big inscription. Eulogy was composed in Sanskrit in different meters also. You find in Arya, Anushtup, Bhujanga Prayata, Indrabraja, Shalini, Shardula, Vikritita, like that. And the record is dated in Samvat 1333, Shravanabadi 30. So this is, so the modern name of Delhi seems to be derived from the word Dilli. So earlier scholars have written on this. I don't remember exactly. It is also an article already published in the Place Name Society, the various name. The first reference, it occurs in visual inscription of Someshwara, 1226, in the form of Dhillika. That is the earliest form, Dhillika, and then here it is Dilli, different. Yogini Pura was the capital of Madanapala, a ruler of Tomar dynasty. And the Jainava accounts show that Yogini Pura was a place of Jaina pilgrimage, there being numerous references to pilgrimage of many Jaina acharyas of Kartaragacha at this place. Now I'm referring to the another very important inscription from Sonepat in Delhi district, composed in verse Anushtup, dated in 1347, Falguna Suddhi 5, begins with the invocation to gods and goddesses and gives a historical account of Dhillika in Haryana. That also, again, we have occurring these two names, ruled by Tomars, Chauhans, Shaka, that is Sultan. Names of rulers are Jalaluddin is also mentioned. The purpose of the inscription is to record the construction of a well in a village named Prastha of Rohitaka family. Prastha is there. We don't know. Indraprasthar village Prastha is mentioned there. Then again in the Ashokan pillar at the ridge, Delhi ridge, also contains some incomplete Nagari inscriptions. One damaged inscription mentions the ruler of Sindh, Veerapala. Another inscription in local dialect mentions some of the individuals. So again, Ashokan pillar inscription, Pirosha Kotla, contains two inscriptions in Sanskrit language and Nagari characters. One inscription is dated in 1581, Chaitrabadi 5, Saturday, mentions a writer named Amma. The second inscription, dated again in 1581, Chaitra Shuddhi 13, mentioned that is engraved by Veda, the ruler of Sultan Ibrahim Lodi. So this is again from another place. So we are coming to a very, very important inscription where we have the mention of the word Indraprastha. This is very important. A couple of inscriptions are there. I'm going to read out. This Narayana, of course, I have at the end of the talk, I am going to project a couple of inscriptions. This is from Narayana, 7 miles south of Delhi, written in Nagari script and dated in Shaka, Samvat 1384, Bhadrapada 3, begins with the invocations to Ganesha and Chandika, eulogizes again the city, Delhi. The purpose is to record the construction of a well on the northern side of village, Nadayana, situated in the Indraprastha division. Here, please make a note, it is mentioned as Indraprastha as a division, Bhaga, of Haryana province by Sridhara of Rohitaka family to perpetuate the memory of his ancestors during the reign of Muhammad Shahi, Delhi is described as covered with innumerable jewels. When sin is expelled through chanting of the Vedas, that is eulogy you find, those who know the sacred lore and which appears lovely with the tinkling anklets of beautiful damsel, even as the heavenly river with the noise of geese. So this is very important. And another inscription which has a reference to Indraprastha as a territorial division. Again, this inscription is from Sarban, 5 miles south of Delhi, dated in somewhat 1384, Falguna Shuddhi 5, composed in verses in various meters like Anushtup, Indravrajra, Vasanta Tilaka, and many. Begins with the invocation to Ganesha and Shiva, then gives a historical account of Delhi again in a region called Haryana. So again it is Haryana, Dirgha, from the rule of Tomars, Chahamanas, conquest by the Sahabuddin Muhammad of Ghor. Then it gives the eulogy of ancestors and all that gives. So here it says the village of Shravala, situated in Indraprastha Pratigana. So again it is a Gana. Pratigana is again a territorial division during the reign of Muhammad Shahi, Muhammad Tughlaq. So these two, where we have direct epigraphical reference regarding, of course, though it occurs as a territorial division. Earlier, we have located the fourth part, the Kila, and I think it has a vast stretch of territory we have seen. And another is a Persian Sanskrit bilingual inscription from Mobar Kotla region, somewhat 1573. It records the construction of a well during the reign of Patasahi Sikandar Shah Lodi, Sultan Bahlol Shah of Sheikh Sikandar, at the desire of disciple Bibi Aisha, daughter of Sultan Bahlol, for the merit of herself, her brother, and nephews. This inscription is the only record preserving the name of the princess Aisha. So this is again a bilingual, biscriptal. You know, as you have seen, the Persian portion is written in embossed characters. So there are many such inscriptions. They can form a separate category for study from different periods, and the terminologies that occur, the names that are Sanskritized, it forms a very good subject for research in the epigraphical studies. So there are some, a couple of Jaina image inscription. That is one, of course, the earliest. There may be many. What is noticed from the report I have taken, Raja Bazaar. It is from Raja Bazaar, New Delhi, Jaina Mandir. Inscription on the pedestal of a Jaina image, written in Nagari characters and Sanskrit. Of course, it is correct, dated in somewhat 16, that is dated in 1061. It is perhaps the earliest, of course, there may be still earlier records, but this early record records the installation of the image, installation probably by Bharata, son of Gatila. There is one more inscription, of course, much, Chirkhane Ka Mandir. This again a Jaina inscription from Delhi, has an inscription written in Sanskrit and Nagari characters on the pedestal of the image, dated in 1462. Maghashuddhi 10 records the installation of the image of Sri Shantinatha for the welfare of their ancestors, and religion. Probably it was installed by Shri Malay Chandrasurya of Dharma Ghosha Gacha. So I have tried to give a very, very comprehensive. In fact, this itself is a new area for me. I have tried to access some of the reports and make a beginning. Still, I say study is not a very exhaustive one. We may have to look for many more inscriptions, but I have made a beginning where we can look for very interesting Sanskrit inscriptions, as well as inscriptions that are in local dialect that enriches our study, especially the heritage, epigraphical heritage of Delhi, and of course, more and more excavations, if they do conduct, I think many more inscriptions may come to light from the Puranakila area, and I need to again access. There may be many more sealings and inscriptions preserved in the central antiquity section of the ASI, may be having some bearing on this one. So please stay connected. I would like to a few photographs I would like to show.
Aryan, could you give him the screen share, please?
Yes, Mr. Ravi Shankar, you already have the access to the screen share. You can share the screen. Yes, we have a screen, right.
Mr. Ravi Shankar, please launch. Ah, yes. Thank you.
So these are this in the course of talk, I mentioned Narayana stone inscription. As I told, very, very few inscriptions. Of course, very good inscription. Many of the inscriptions are either in fragmentary nature or damaged. Even this is a very important inscription I did mention in my talk, Narayana stone inscription, written in Sanskrit, of course, in Nagari characters, is very important. And the stone inscription at Delhi Museum, again, this is a very important record, no doubt, but you may see the central portion of the inscription is worn out, and by appearance report, even the engraving is not that shallow, so it is disturbed. Anyway, the central portion is worn out, and some other engraving stylus marks are also seen. And this is the beautiful Sarban stone inscription, which I mentioned a little earlier. It's very beautiful to see the Swasti Shri like that. I'm not going into the reading of the text. Just I want to give, because I had many constraints in accessing many of the photos and stamped material. But anyway, I have to thank here Dr. Krishnamurthy from Mysore office for giving me a lot of inputs, material for today's talk. And of course, Madam also, she gave wonderful material I could go through and incorporate in my talk today. And so I thank both these scholars for their help in my talk. And this Palam Bali is a stepwell. It's again a beautiful inscription. I have tried to select those which are full, not fragmentary. I told in the where we wanted a full, that is especially, I felt very sad when we are looking for a good intact inscription from Indraprastha, that is Purana Kila area. Unfortunately, both the inscription which are assigned to King Bhoja, they are of fragmentary nature. Of course, because of we couldn't get much of historical material in that, but to amply show the existence of a temple in the precincts, both the inscription they substantiated. So that is one thing. So this how. So with this, I conclude my talk, and thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Krishnan. Ravi Krishnan ji, hello. Thank you so very much for this wonderful journey you took us through from inscriptions that actually mention Indraprastha and those that also mention other periods of history of Delhi. And I just want to share something interesting with you. I have been working on this online projects for the last 2 years, obviously, because we are not able to do our ground projects. So we had a talk by a person who has written a book on inscriptions.
Okay.
And other scholars who have actually been doing work independently. Almost 3,000 inscriptions have been put aside by the colonial people, saying that these are fake. Now, how can an inscription written so many centuries ago be fake? The problem with this is that there is a complete epoch that was being wiped out of our recorded history when the colonials came, and obviously even after partition.
Absolutely true.
And when you put that epoch there, because most of those inscriptions are talking about Kala Yuga, they're talking, and they are ranging not only within this little area. They're talking, we have them in Bangladesh, we have them from Assam, we have them from Gujarat, we have them from Bengal, we have them across the nation. So the most important work that the Archaeological Survey of India that needs to do now is to bring back those 3,000 inscriptions and reconstruct the timeline of our historical records. Then only we will know the real antiquity and the wealth of knowledge that is there inscribed in these inscriptions. So, because
absolutely
because we feel so handicapped that they don't understand the chronology or the time frame of our historical period. The antiquity of our country is so deep. For them, it was difficult. But unfortunately, even after the independence, we were. KK Mohabbat ji will also be able to, share my agony, because he has done temple revival in Bateshwar in Madhya Pradesh.
Yes.
That there are so many things they know, but they cannot bring it forward because there are pressures on them. Now, today we should actually take a decision that we should bring back those 3,000 inscriptions in the main line and not consider them as fake. There are, in my book, I had mentioned Machli Shehar along with Sarban and this Machli Shehar inscription, which also talks of Indraprastha. Secondly, there are many inscriptions which talk of the Pandavas. They talk of Yudhishthira. They talk of, grants that were given in honor of some, after the Yajna, after the Jasna, in Karnataka, yes, there was this inscription which is mentioned in so many places, so many grants from different temples mentioned, and all these inscriptions record the ancestry of the giver from the Pandavas, from Yudhishthir. So this is an area, because the moment we talk of Pandavas, the moment we talk of Yudhishthir, we are connecting to Indraprasth. That is maybe not direct evidence, but indirect evidence. So I don't want to take so much time because there are a lot of other people who would like to ask questions, but I want to thank you once again for this wonderful presentation. And a lot of, as you said, work needs to be done, research needs to be done. And we take this forward. Now, Aryan, it is open to you. Now, please engage everybody in question answers and start with your answers because you have a lot of queries. Aryan is running this Resource Media. He is a pioneer in a lot of works connected to web. He launched the first web series called Ran Bhumi. Okay. And he is into media, he is into advertising, and he is a man so passionate about unearthing the ancient history, the correct history of our nation. So over to you, Aryan. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeraji. Thank you so much. And first of all, thank you so much, Mr. Ravi Shankar, for this enriching information, which was very, very eye-opening. Not only that, more than a history student, I'm a history enthusiast. And you can understand how this particular talk has been inspiring to me, because I came to know so many things about a place where I'm residing for 25 years. And that gets me a little closer to my root. So I know where we belong to. Thank you so much for this enriching session. But I do have some questions, which can be a little challenging, but at the same time, can be a little tricky. In Indraprastha Talks, I represent a section which tries to connect our youth and our stalwarts. I'm not going to ask any academic questions because we do have the stalwarts out here who can ask you these academic questions, which will be enriching for myself. Like when we have people like Muhammad Saab, Grover Saab, and so many, I can see the list today. I mean, there are so much of enthusiasm, people listening to you. We could hear Dr. Geeta. She has been asking questions and she has been also already, trying to participate in the chat. So my question straight away, will come from the contemporary people of Delhi and people of Bharat. So first of all, Jai Hind and Jai Bharat to everybody. To begin my question, we say every history has a future.
Yes.
हर इतिहास का एक भविष्य होता है. जिस इतिहास के बारे में हम बात कर रहे थे, the inscriptions, आज हम उसका future है. We are trying to dig into it. We are going to try and find out. Tomorrow we'll become a history. And our future is going to try and dig and explore us. My first question will be, it's a responsibility for our stalwarts and people who represent today, come together and preserve this future, which is called history, right? My question is, in a unified way, what are we doing to preserve our history today and our history in the history? Because Ravi Shankar sir, अगर हम देखते हैं, पहले हम इंस्क्रिप्शन देखते थे, आज के दिन में वो इंस्क्रिप्शन है मोबाइल स्क्रीन. हम कल जब हम डिग करेंगे, ठीक है, एज आर्कियोलॉजिकल हीरोज, इफ यू कंसीडर योरसेल्फ, यू गेट अ टाइम मशीन एंड गो टू फ्यूचर, आप डिग करेंगे नॉट ओनली फिजिकली बट आल्सो डिजिटली. So what is the combined effort we are putting together to preserve our history, our present, which is going to become a history in the future?
Yes. See, nearly being in the field for 4 decades, there is a change, earlier the discussion, when I joined the office of Directorate of Epigraphy, it was within the wall. Very few scholars used to interact. And copying a stamp page and all, we do that. Now it is, the technology has developed. That's why even when I used to deal with the calligraphy, we purely depend on the eye copy of the inscription made by Shivram Murthy, Euler, many early calligraphers, which is closely, of course, even now, I don't deny. But I say, why can't we use the modern technology of precisely define the scope of the letter more precisely. In I copy here and there you may add, but we can place in juxtaposition the I copy of the letter and the inscription and your modern what you take. And as you said, a stamp page, for example, I would like to say many a question, why not, as you said, in the mobile we see, but nothing can equal. We can have a digitized photograph also, but nothing like a full exam, a stamp page. Because in a single inscription, there may be 2-3 types of ma written or letter sa. In a computer laptop, you cannot just move and compare. But if you spread the inscription on a corner, you can look into the various forms, different forms occurring in the same inscription. So this is the advantage. And of course, to your question, I would like to add again, there are people who highlight the demerits of epigraphical records. They think it is just mere eulogy. Especially as Madam was just referring, the earlier records, it cannot be. A 16-17 inscription century, he may say Maharaja, Adhiraja, or who has crossed all the 10 oceans. That is eulogy. Bards, they did exist. But that is a later part they eulogize. But many scholars, I am very sorry to say, they highlight the demerits rather than looking into the merits of the epigraph. So I am for that, to see, look into that, especially you have to sift the material. Even DC Sarkar has written the demerits of epigraph. There is there. But when you speak of the especially early inscription, truth is there. And when we are on the course of rewriting the history, now we are on the project. Now more and more, as Madam said rightly, we have to get back all, and the entire timeline should be restructured, rewritten. So that's what I see. The past, when we see, that is a different thing. Now things are moving, but the saddest part, that's why every forum I utilize, we have to create second and third line of scholars. That's why every forum I mention, hardly few. There are many thousands of inscriptions. See, there are many categories. When you see, there are scholars who just appreciate when I speak, they appreciate and admire. There are scholars who take seriously for a study, understand what is written. So there are categories, and we wanted a committed, dedicated students, a band of students who can take up, then only real history is possible to be written, utilizing all the material that comes to us.
Please request KK Mohammed ji to say a few things. Yeah, I would like to hear KK Mohammed ji's views on this.
I do have two more important questions.
Okay, sure. Please carry on. Yeah.
Okay, but let's do it very quickly, sir, because I want to listen to Mohammed a little more. Okay.
Short answers. Yeah, short answers.
My questions also will be very short and to the point. Okay. See, we are talking about Delhi, sir. ठीक है, हमने inscription बहुत सारे find out किए हैं, but मुझे लगता है we haven't even explored not even 20 to 30% of it. We have to, we talk all the time on this whole session. We talked about those places where we found the inscription or what we found. What about those places where you feel that there is a lot of scope to find a lot of things and a lot of information about history which is unexplored, or maybe it is challenging to excavate there because of many reasons, maybe political, maybe there can be logistic issues. But my question is, can you point out few places in Delhi जहाँ पे आपको लगता है कि नहीं, यहाँ पे हमारे जो खजाने हैं ना, यहाँ पे छुपे हुए हैं जिसको हम निकाल सकते हैं?
Yes, so this I would like to leave to Dr.
Yes, KK Mohammed ji was the Delhi
as an epigraphist. Of course, I did. As far as Delhi is concerned, I visited only museums. I don't have that much of knowledge where.
KK Mohammed ji has been the director of Delhi. He can tell us so much.
Person like KK Mohammed sir will reply your.
Yeah, because he has been here a director for Delhi Circle. So please.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. So, first
thank
of
you,
all,
sir. Thank you.
We heartily congratulate Dr. Ravi Shankar ji for this excellent lecture. It was very well informative, very well informative. I have listened to many people But you know, nothing like this. Nothing like this. Even I did not know about the inscriptions of the Lucky Gate. And you are saying that it belongs to Raja Bhoj. Wonderful. Because I have been able to conserve more than 80 temples of Raja Bhoj at Bateshwar. And we did not get even a single inscription from there. But these are, I mean, some of the, I mean, you say that, I mean, say Talaki Gate inscription. We worked there, but we never knew about it. And similarly, the Saftarjung, this one inscriptions also in the Office of Archaeological Survey of India, we have a wealth of information, but you know, it's not known to people and even to some of our own experts also. So you have brought it to the attention of almost all the people. And I think, Madam Ji, you have to arrange a lecture of Dr. Shankar Ji in Delhi itself. A physical lecture.
Thank you, sir.
Sure, sure.
It's
Along
my
with
pleasure.
you, along with you.
It's my
Both of
pleasure.
you
I
will
will
come.
come.
Both of you will come. Let the corona go.
Once the corona is over, you know, at least let us have it, because you know, people should know about all these things.
KK Mohammed ji, could you identify some other important places where there can be inscriptions? Of course, he did not mention the inscription where that Ashokan, where it mentions about the Tilpat, the road from Indraprasth to Tilpat. There is one inscription. So, Mohammed ji, can you throw some light on the places where need exploration?
The Srinivasapuri inscription, that is the earliest inscription. Srinivasapuri inscription of Ashoka, that is the earliest inscription. So, I mean, then, I mean, we have a number of inscriptions, but, you know, most of them, it is not known to public. And this is happening because we are not giving importance to epigraphy, because even in the condition of epigraphy department is in a very, very less condition. It is highly fragmented organization now. And recently they had to stage this one also, Dharna also for that one, by inviting. So if there is anybody in this group who can take it up with the political powers, let them take up these questions, you know, with some of the ministers and many other people. Because I know our weeping will not move them. We are crying, but that will not move them. They have got some other priorities. And we all expected a lot from the BJP government. And they have it, I mean, the condition is, I mean, during the BJP period, it is absolutely, I mean, it is in a highly degenerated condition now. You may not say, but I will say.
But I want you to tell us in Delhi, what are the places, which is Aryan's questions, which need exploration and where we can find some inscriptions?
No, where, I mean, first of all, what we have to do is, I mean, we have to see this one. In Puranikila, there is a center that is, I mean, antiquity center is there. We'll have to take out, I mean, we'll have to have a group of scholars under this one, I mean, Srinivasji. We'll have to have a group of scholars. It is a wealth of material is there. So let us start from there. And then with this one, Safdarjung tomb also, we have a wealth of, that's it, mine, it's a treasure trove. Let us take up all these things.
They have not been identified and studied those material that is lying there.
Yes, it has not been identified. It has not been classified. So we'll have to do all these things. But for that, you have to train the youngsters also, and you have to give them employment also. Nothing is happening. And now the Archaeological Survey of India under the present BJP government is like a painted board on a painted wall.
Oh my God. What is the next question, Aryan? I'm getting depressed.
No, because I told this one, some other political people also who are highly placed. But you know, I mean, they are not interested in all these things. In Congress government, it was not like that. Congress was far, far better than the present BJP government.
Aryan, any question? Next question, please.
Be noted and communicated also.
Absolutely, sir. A quick strong questions.
Because there are others who want to ask questions. Yeah.
सर हमारे पास आज के दिन में हमारे पास बहुत एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी अवेलेबल है. फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू हैव चैलेंजेस, सी मुझे लगता है हिस्ट्री इज फॉर पीपल Okay, I understand governments will come and change, but somehow we have to make it a people's movement because it belongs to people. And if we can make it a people's movement, then probably we can achieve what we want. We have technologies available without even digging. At least we can find out the scopes in different places, even in Delhi, jahan se pata ho sakta hai ki yahan pe there are scopes of finding a lot of things. Okay, maybe underground. I really don't know about the technologies. ठीक है, आप लोग use करते हैं, but there are few technologies which I am or I don't know. But the thing is, we as a stalwarts, as the pioneer, as the representative of history of India, ठीक है, मुझे लगता है कि आप लोगों को वो स्टेप आगे लेना पड़ेगा. हम जैसे लोगों का काम है आपके काम को आगे फॉरवर्ड लेके लोगों को साथ में लेके आ सकें. That's exactly what we are trying to do through IP Talks, getting history to the life, connecting history to the life of common people and common youth especially. मेरा एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन है, उसके बाद I'm going to open this session up for everybody else. Because we are talking about Indraprasth. We all, it's a common thing. There are a lot of people who knows very less about Indraprasth, even in Delhi. Okay, but when you talk about Panch Gaon, that really connects to Indraprasth very strongly. What I want to know is this Panch Gaon, which is, Bagpat, Tilpat, Sonipat, Panipat, and Indraprasth, right? Which is the oldest inscription or reference which we have available, which connects them together and which actually takes us or gives us a point towards actual era of Mahabharata when Indraprastha was established?
To me, right now, there is no epigraphical material so far. It has not come to light.
So what about the eye hole inscription? That is very clearly talking about the Kurukshetra war, and it is giving a date also.
That is there.
So that is connecting the Kurukshetra war. So if it is connecting Kurukshetra war, it is automatically indirectly talking about it. The eye hole inscription is the oldest inscription.
Yes.
And there are many more that I have come across, which I'm actually putting in my book now, which are spread across Southeast Asia and now, like I said, Bangladesh, Assam, Gujarat, etc. A lot of work has been done. Yeah.
So I completely agree with Mohammad Saab that we actually require to get together physically and have a nice debate.
Yeah, that we will be doing that. Let the corona, corona ruk jaye. Please open it to others. A lot of people are waiting to ask questions.
Before I ask the question, I would like to say we have to create archaeological heroes. We have the heroes right here in front of us on the screen. But we need to inspire our youth to pick up this subject and pursue this subject and get it into an advanced.
Robert ji, aap kuch puchna chahenge, please.
Okay, now I open this question. I open this session for
everybody. Start with Robert ji because he's a very close fan of our Indraprasth talks, and he's going to.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Please, sir.
Let's keep the questions and answers short so that everybody gets a chance.
I have no question, but I have a small suggestion.
Yes, please.
You see, I am neither a historian nor an archaeological or this word epigraphical study was new to me today. Okay, but I am a promoter of career amongst youth. जैसा आर्यन जी बोल रहे थे कि हमको youth को involve करना है. Through my newsletter, which is for industry awareness, उसमें मैं थोड़ा सा portion रखता हूँ heritage पर. So I would like to cover in very small paragraphs, and we can spread it through LinkedIn, Facebook.
So we will give you all the little paragraphs about our Indraprasth talks because we only focused on ancient history and culture.
Because this was a new word to me, epigraphy.
Okay.
I will look into Google and see what it is.
Epigraphy is the study of inscriptions.
No, I have learned now after listening to this talk. But then I would like to participate only as a promoter, and I think I will get support from Aryan ji.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
In propagating my ideas also.
Sure. Anybody else?
Thank you. Virendra ji, being one of the youngest person of IP Talk, I have always seen his enthusiasm, participating and coming up with a lot of suggestions and questions. Thank you so much, Virendra ji, for your suggestions always. We really appreciate it.
Who else? Anybody else would like to ask a question, please? Because there are a lot of people on the screen, but
Mr. Krishnamurthy, Mr. Ray, Mr. Kamath, Mr. Samuel, Shalini ji, Urmila ji. Okay, do you have any questions?
Yes.
Voice nahi aa raha. Voice is not coming.
Mr. Ray, I think you have some disturbance on your mic. If you need to convey the question, you can also type in chat in case the mic is not working properly.
Can't hear. No, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. There are a lot of disturbances.
You may type your question, please. Anybody else would like to speak?
Sure. Thank you. Sir. Yes, do you have any more questions?
Anybody else has any other questions? It was very interesting. The topic for today was epigraphic perspective on Indraprasth. Fantastic.
In fact, there is a suggestion from Dr. Geeta on the chat, which I'll read out. Okay. She says, first of all, there should be an awareness that inscription is there in the very first place. And the youngsters wouldn't know how to decipher them even if they see an inscription. Hence, the inscription importance is not known. And then again, she says, similarly to our Parthasarathi temple, which is called Bindar Nayaka Shrestha, where we have Panchavira. Okay, I'm sorry if excuse me for the pronunciations. Okay, I'm not really sure of the thing, but this is what we have typed. And she has also said lots of information. Thank you, sir, and thank you, Draupadi Trust.
Thank you.
Please, Krishnamurthy ji.
Yes, Krishnamurthy ji. Can't hear.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, now we are audible.
Yes.
Yeah, the talk by our Ravi Shankar sir is very informative, and I would like to congratulate him first. And actually, my question is not related to the topic, but madam, I want to ask you one question. That you mentioned some 3,000 inscriptions and some book you have written about it. Can I know some more details of it?
Yeah, the book has not been written by me. I have taken some of the inscriptions in my forthcoming book on Mahabharat, which is already in print. But there are 3,000 inscriptions identified by two scholars. One is Dr. M.L. Raja, who is basically an eye specialist, but he has a keen interest. So he's written a complete book on inscriptions. And I will text you the name of the book. And the other is Mr. Dr. Vedveer Arya. He is actually, again, an independent scholar, a Sanskrit master's from Delhi University, but he is, works in the ministry as a joint secretary in the Ministry of Defense. And so both these people, their books are with me and they have identified those 3,000 inscriptions. I will share that information with you on email.
Okay, yes, that Vedveer Arya's book I have gone through.
And Dr. M.L. Raja's book is also there on the net. It's only on inscriptions.
Okay. Okay, madam. Thank you.
Anybody else? Dr. Krishnan had mentioned about an inscription in Sonipat. He says Prastha. So that Prastha was actually Sonprastha, that is Sonipat. Because the places were known as Sonprasth, Vakprasth, Panprasth, Indraprasth.
The five villages.
Yes. Anybody else, any questions?
Shalinji? Pankaj. Okay,
so now you can ask.
I think we are
almost through now. If you have any questions, Aryan, because it's very important that you satisfy your thirst for this.
Sir, in fact, most of my questions were definitely answered in the discussion. We had a very short, rapid fire session we had to do that. Otherwise, I would have tried to grill them because I would lose an opportunity to, the way you dig history, I try to dig people who are stalwarts and try to get the best knowledge out of them because you are our time machine. You are our time machine who takes us to that era and give us the facts and realities which comes forward. My only concern is to create the similar time machines. I think we should also work on some inscriptions, which I'll call inscription. Rather, it should be a literature to present our archaeological heroes, which is very important because if we, as we are talking about, we have to create a next generation of archaeologists, historians who can take this mantle forward. Right. And I really think this is going to be a very strong responsibility for you. Along with finding history, you have to build our future. So with this thought, I leave it to Niraji to conclude. And again, thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat sir. Bahut dhanyawad for being a part of Indraprasth Talks. Niraji.
So thank you so very much for this. The topic for today Indraprasth and Epigraphic Perspective. Dr. Ravi Shankar ji, Dr. Mohammed ji, Grover ji, Dr. Krishnan, and all the participants, Geeta and Pankaj and everybody, all of you, especially a very special thanks to Dr. Krishnan for this very it's quite exhaustive for the moment, the amount of research that has been done. And as you said, lot of has to be done, and we will do whatever little we can. And then Dr. K.K. Mohammed has already said where we fail. So we will continue, but we don't give up. You know, Dr. Mohammed, that I don't give up till my last breath. I am going to go on doing my work. Hopefully someday will listen to us. But we will do our efforts to make sure that we get some scholars where we can take them to Purana Club with the proper permission, and under your supervision and K.K. Mohammed ji's supervision, we can dig out the material. So thank you once again. Thank you so very much for this enriching talk on Indraprasth and Epigraphic Perspective. And we look forward to more such lectures. And of course, K.K. Mohammed ji's lecture is due. The letter I have sent you already, K.K. Mohammed ji. So, Grover ji, thank you so much. We will definitely be giving you the material that you look for. Thank you, Arvind.
Thank you, Neera ji.
Thank you so much.
So we are looking forward for your session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi Shankar. Thank you so much.